And just realizing that, yes, it does make sense that they would have died for Apple Rock. Of course they would have died for Apple Rock. Apple Rock is their home. These people, as well as being food and nutrition, are friends.
Well, boy howdy. Time to strap some tape on and knock some teeth loose.
Well, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a day where I feel really shaky this morning. Not quite sure why, but yay for that. Still, I got some sleep, and that was good. It was dry most of the day yesterday. When I went on walkies, it was dry, and that's a very good thing. Yesterday was not a wonderful day for a couple of reasons. I started having weird visual disturbances, which I guess are like visual migraines. When that happens, I'll get like motion lines, thick black motion lines around objects in my peripheral vision, and it's not a pleasant thing. You're not supposed to see that, and it doesn't feel good. And there were other like visual artifacting in my peripherals, and when that happens, so then later on, of course, I fell asleep for like 2 hours here in my chair. Were they tied together, or was that tied with eating gluten? I don't know. Because, yeah, I ate products with gluten in them as well, but I hadn't been falling asleep. And then with the visual disturbances, I did, so who knows. And of course, front-loading of videos. Hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would be very awesome. If you could leave me a comment, I love comments. I read them all, and I answer as many as I can. And of course, I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and literally awesome people are, in fact, literally beautiful and literally awesome. While they are helping me to slow the sinking beneath the waves of despair and financial ruin, I am, of course, not doing as well. So, well, thank you each and every person there. I would also say, hey, if you could give me a hand this month, I am really hurting. I need to pay for my phone, and I'm not going to have enough money to buy cat dirt and cat food. If you could help, that'd be very cool. Thank you much, and front loading of videos over. And of course, even though it's dry, I'm still having to deal with allergies, so my throat is still scratchy. Not as bad as yesterday because it's drier. You know, I'm still hacking and coughing and sneezing, just not as bad as yesterday because yesterday was damp and today it's not as. Yay, thumbs up for that. There are a fair amount of things I do want to talk about. Some of them have things to do with stuff, and some of them are just stuff that I've remembered and thought about. So, yay on that. One of them is, we had one of the local cannabis shops move far away. One of the places that is far away is supposed to move and be closer. It hasn't yet, so it's far away. It went from like a mile away to 3 miles away with the one shop, and then the shop that's like 2 miles away is supposed to move into the place that's 1 mile away. So it's been a big shake-up, and I really have to change my routing and moving around town if I want to try and check out the cannabis shops, because I still need cannabis for pain control. Hokey smokes. Last 2 places that I've been to, though, no budget weed. One is only going to get it hopefully in a couple weeks, and the other a couple days. So luckily I have concentrate and such like that, but oy vey. So there's supposedly 5 cannabis shops in town, and I know where one of them is, but there's no sidewalks, and you have to walk on next to a highway that has no shoulder, so you're right next to the road if you want to go walking, and I don't want to die, so I'm afraid to walk that route. Yeah. So we shall see what happens, and that's just one thing I wanted to mention. Thumbs up. Let me see what else I have on here. Yes, this was something that I had also mentioned and put out as a joke on Twitter this morning. There was somebody on Facebook had done one of those Venn diagrams, and it had all of these horrible books and movies, you know, Gattaca, Fahrenheit 451, you know, blah, 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 and right in the middle was, "You are here." And so I posted that, and somebody's reply was, you know, I agree, but I disagree, because at the same time, in fiction, all of those bad people at least had plans. They had will. They were doing stuff with their power. In our world, it's just incompetence. And I think we need to petition for a rewrite for better villains. And as my reply was just, oh, I agree 100%. Don't just cut us down in our swaths from sheer incompetence. When our blood flows in the streets like water, make it be for a purpose at the very least, not just because you're dumb. So here's hoping that when we do get slaughtered in our millions, it'll at least be for a purpose. Here's hoping. Let's see what else I have on my list. I've talked about the visual migraines. I've talked about this, that, and the other. Oh yes, actually, this was actually good and is true. I watched a Kurzgesagt video yesterday, which is one of these Science Channel videos. And they were talking about, actually, there is hope for the future. And it is important to acknowledge hope. If our future, we only heat it up like 1 degree Celsius, it would be bad, but not terrible. If we heat up 2 or 3 degrees Celsius, it's bad, but it's not the end. If we heat up 4 degrees or more, all bets are off. It looks like from aggressive chasing of green energy, we may be stopping at just a 2 or 3 Celsius increase in heat, which is bad, but not terrible. There is hope, and with advancing technology and adoption of these things, there may be even more hope. Because if we can stop it at 2 or 3 degrees, which it looks like we will, like I say, that's bad. But that's not the end. It's livable at the very least. And then we can work on reversing things. And they point out that it is important to have hope, because hopelessness only works for the people that are driving us towards extinction. Because when you feel hopeless, you become apathetic and you don't try, because why try? There's no hope. So you need hope so you can continue fighting. Because if we don't fight, it's a 4 degree or more world. And we have been fighting. And it looks like we are not going to hit that. And if we keep fighting, we can drive it down even more. So hope is important. Very, very cool for that. Also as well, I know there's no great call for any of my content, that's the word, online, but I still do things primarily for my mental health, and also because I like to share things with people. I have been doing a long playthrough of the game Hrot on max difficulty after I went through and just explored it to show people what was coming up on the new stuff. And so I've been playing it pretty extensively for some time, and I don't want to burn out because I enjoy the game. Which is, if you've watched my stuff, why I did this one thing on Paint the Town Red, where for April 1st they had done a really goofy mod which turned blood into flowers and flower sprays everywhere. It looks surreal. So of course that's why I did that. But after the thing's done today, back to Hrot. So if you care, thumbs up for that. Let me take a look at my list here and see if there's anything else that we have. Oh, well, now we're up to the creative part and hopefully being creative. Last night, for some reason, while I was walking, I am under no great control for my creativity. Like I say, it's push and then follow it. So I never really know what is going to happen, because just the oddest little prompts will stick. And then later on, I'll realize it's moving through the darkness, and I just follow along and find out what we uncover. I had read this one post about someone who was like, women don't want to do this, they want to do this, that, and the other, and it was started off normal and ended with, like wearing a crown of femurs and having men whisper in terror that the crow witch has returned. And I just had that percolating inside of my head. And last night, while I was walking along, I know that I have several characters in my cryptid setting that they're not cryptids, or if they are, they don't realize it, or when they do, they also realize they have very, very little cryptid programming. They've gone out and talked with and befriended other cryptids. So what would it be like if you're a character like Daff, who's just an affable person who likes to wander around and meet people and be friends? Who you do come across a cryptid that is, yes, they do wear a crown of femurs across their head. And periodically, they will harvest femurs from those who are passing to build their crown. And when they do, they reign in terror for a time before they bring it all down and then start over again. After a period of quiet, starting to harvest those femurs again. And so I thought, just as I was wandering around, not even trying to figure out what's going on, like Daff would be talking to this person about what's going on, and then for some weird reason, it came up as like, Daff would notice, hey, how come you've only got 13 femurs there? Don't you collect femurs in pairs from your victims? And then have the cryptid just be like, you did so. Wait a minute. And then go, 1, 2, 3, 13. 13. Did I lose a femur? I do collect them in pairs. What happened to that 14th femur? At which point Daff would say something along the lines of, please don't take this in the wrong way, but I'm around 27 years old, because at the time of the story he would be. And I've only had 2 femurs that I need to take care of, and I've never lost one of them. Being a smartass, just for the sake of being a smartass, at which point the cryptid would lean in with one blank, dusty eye socket from the blank skull, about 6 inches away from Daff's own face, and after about 3 or 4 seconds of absolute silence, just, point number 1. You are treading dangerously close to the line of being annoying. I am not unaware of the fact that you have 2 prime femurs of your own, and I have harvested many femurs through the centuries. It would be very easy to harvest yours. And point number 2, yes, you have taken very good care of your femurs. You must be commended for that. I do not know what happened to this other one. I will have to be more careful in the future. So, that's going to be fun and entertaining. Just don't give up your femurs to this thing. They're a nice cryptid. Long as you don't have any femurs that they need while they're harvesting. And then here's the one thing that was really big, because it's not big in a big way, but it's showing how things continue to percolate. Because I've talked about the kaiju rampaging and devouring the town. I talked about how it would be like, I thought months and months and months, if even a year back, how the end of the rampage, this kaiju has eaten 12,000 people. It's wandering slow through this place. There's a guy and his wife on top of their house just watching. They're not running, they're just watching. And across the street and all that, the kaiju tears open a house and eats the family inside. And it wanders over to their house and it just stands like 15 feet away, breathing. And the guy and his wife just stand there. And after about 30 seconds, it is breathing at them. The kaiju turns and wanders up the hill and starts getting into its apple formation to hibernate for a time. And this one person was just waiting. Not running, just waiting to see. Not afraid, willing to die, but just waiting. And then a couple weeks, maybe a week or so ago, I talked about doppelgangers and opportunity feeders and the types of doppelgangers. Percolation and letting things happen. This guy that watched that is one of those doppelgangers, the only one in Apple Rock. He's lived there for 60 years. Beforehand, he would have gone running and left if he survived because it's far too dangerous there. He doesn't know why he didn't run. He doesn't know why he was willing to die for Apple Rock. Never before has he felt that. He's not human. He doesn't care about humanity. Humanity is there to be eaten. And yet at the same time, he's been married for 20 years, and when he smells his wife, he doesn't smell food. He smells home and comfort and feels protective. And as he's thinking about this in the days that pass, as the town, the city is recovering from this, just realizing that, even though these people are my prey, they are my food, I still count many of them as valued friends. And just realizing that, yes, it does make sense that they would have died for Apple Rock. Of course they would have died for Apple Rock. Apple Rock is their home. These people, as well as being food and nutrition, are friends, family, community. Of course they were willing to die for Apple Rock. They wouldn't run in the face of this. They are going to stay. They are going to help build this community. They are going to become a bigger part of this community, not for any bad purposes, not to feed, but just to show themselves and others how much Apple Rock means to them. Oh, those compounds and the waste gases that come out of the kaiju. They break down into everybody that's there. And even if you're not human, all you have to do is pretend to be human, and they will affect you. This creature, this doppelganger, should run. But those compounds that are flooding its system daily, well, that sense of community, that sense of family, that sense of need of being there, oh, the kaiju has its own stuff tweaked so well. And I've opened up a 24 hours where the comments of my community tab, and I'm going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. That's never many anymore, but anything more than 0 is awesome. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count in American Sign Language with my depression, fibro, ADHD, and more, well, I'm sometimes amazed that I can remember anything at all, which is why I'm speaking so quickly right now. My ADHD, I never know what's going to happen. Sometimes I get bursts of energy like this and can hyper-focus and talk quickly, compared to how I usually do. We have, it looks like K1T36, thumbs up and thank you. Stephen Blanchard, greatly appreciated. Jesse Koskinen, it is very brutal, thumbs up and thank you, good to see you. Melissa R, very good to see you in the comments again, thumbs up and thank you. Omnipotent, greatly appreciated. Ben B, always good to see you in the comments as well. Rayan Khan, well, thumbs up, and I'm getting to what is the word? Recognize your name as well. Thumbs up. We have J-A-Y-Y. Thumbs up and thank you. Good to see you in the comments as well. Ice Damon. Always good to see you. King Moala. Thumbs up. And that is it. And people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Greatly appreciated. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, and that is appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you. And with my hands in the air, don't know what device you're watching this on, but inside of the video description, there's links to all of my various channels, as well as my Twitter, my Facebook, my Patreon. And again, I would like to thank each and every one of these Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and awesome people are literally beautiful and literally awesome. If it weren't for these people, I and my kitty cat, my little hamster ghost would be stuck. And I can't remember when I put my hands in the air or how long I should keep them up. So hopefully I didn't keep them up too long or bring them down too soon. But if you'd like to help me out, that'd be very awesome. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I do have a PayPal link in that video description. And there's also an Amazon wishlist link if you'd like to help me out without sending anything at all monetarily. and it has stuff like cat food on it, so if you could check it out, that'd be very cool. Don't feel obligated, I don't feel entitled, and if you cannot reasonably, do not donate. I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart, where I draw interest, so thank you very much. If you could toss me a like, I do appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence, and of course, if you hit the notification bell on the subscription button, very cool. Definitely a thumbs up on that. Well, I wasn't able to make any phone calls yesterday. The visual disturbances and falling asleep, it was not a good day yesterday. Hopefully it's going to be a better one today. I got phone calls to make, and hopefully I can get those done. That would be very, very cool. Hopefully you can get done the things that you need to get done. But of course, remember, survival is important. If you can't get the things done, don't beat yourself up. Just do the best you can. And of course, with the covfefe bug a-raging, please just be smart, take the precautions that you know you need for your area, as well as get a vaccination, get boosted. Very smart. You don't need to get long covfefe bug. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and quite frankly, I think that is a very good idea.